This is Ocean on the Rocks, coming back to you guys with another one. Recognizing the Game, episode 45. Black Flag. Y'all tu sabes, you know what it is. So this is Semen Retention and Authentic Self Part 3. And the focal point of these last few videos has been in regards to relationships and the authentic self. And I just wanted to focus on this situation because being in a relationship and having that first so-called heartbreak can really put life in perspective for you and make you aware of establishing boundaries as well as honoring and respecting who you are. Because from what I've seen in my own experiences and then the experiences of others as a man, seeing how men around me pretty much put themselves in a position where certain choices that they make in regards to, your significant other, when it comes to a breakup, you have to do the opposite of what your fear-based desires are pushing you to do. You have to step back and start looking within. And so with the situation that happened with my brother is that a girl breaks up with him and he's doing all of these things to try to get her back, which is actually creating opposite effect. And when you go through a breakup, it's requiring you to grow and evolve, reassess things, and look back at situations that may have been red flags or pointers that you're deviating from yourself, your authentic self. And certain behaviors are indicating that in this particular relationship, it can be problematic. It can take you down a path of self-destruction and some experiences that will require you to make different choices and to be more aware. And a lot of us, which I probably pointed out in other videos, we don't have a lot of guidance in terms of what we're supposed to be looking for in a partner, how we're supposed to go about a relationship, understanding the balance and that they go through cycles and making sure that you don't lose yourself in that relationship. So when a breakup happens, people will find themselves trying so hard to get back with that person, trying all of these things to get that person's validation and get them back when they don't realize that the mere act alone is deviating from the authentic self. I don't care how valuable a person is to you. No one is worth chasing because that's not who you are authentically. When a breakup happens, a lot of people who find themselves on the receiving end of the breakup make choices and decisions out of fear, lack, need, and a state of deprivation. You already have everything you need. You're already complete. But because you spent so much of your time invested in making this person your primary focus, you're no longer focused on yourself. You started to negate your needs. And if you ever find yourself going through a breakup and you feel like something's missing, it's not them, it's you. And it's not as if that part that is deemed missing is somewhere out there for you to find. It's still inside of you. It's a part of yourself that you're having to come to realize and understand again. You can go through a breakup and be so consumed with a person and trying to get them back and trying to get back what was when what was is no longer there. Those feelings that you created in that moment, they may still be there. Of course, you're going to miss that person. Of course, you're going to go through that process of mourning and honoring the end of your relationship. But a lot of people don't do that. We spend our time trying to fight the pain, trying to ignore it, and go back to that place of security, which is ultimately going to make the pain grow and make it much worse if you do get that person back and you haven't taken the time to look at what went wrong, where you may have misstepped and been somewhat out of yourself, or where that person may have not been good for you, or they may have been disrespectful, where they weren't honest and respectful towards or considerate of your needs. Think about it. A lot of breakups will end up happening, and this is just a scenario. But you got two people who have spent so much time together and become so invested in one another that there's a sense of complacency that comes about. One or both parties end up wanting to go somewhere else. Like the feelings may no longer be there, or you and that person may be on different paths. And you may be called to go other ways and have opposite journeys. Someone will end up breaking up with the other person. And when you have that happen, it can be difficult to get back to yourself because now it's like, damn, I built a life around this person and I've gotten so used to them being there. Like you're going to feel an absence. You're going to feel a void. But all the while, when you come towards gaining that wisdom and awareness, you'll realize that the missing piece was me. Because you were probably in a good space before the person ultimately drew you in or you attracted that person. And now because of the change in dynamics, you strayed away from the person you were. And now that you've become so consumed by your partner, you started neglecting your own needs. So when that happens, the universe, because the balance is off, the universe is going to reflect where you're at. And when that balance is off, the shift changes. And even though it may be painful, you're being called back to yourself. So instead of trying so hard to get that person back, you realize that, damn, I need to put myself first again. Honestly, and this is something that everybody can learn from, but when a breakup happens, the last thing you need to do is fight it. The last thing you want to do is fight it, because everything that you think that you need to do in order to prove yourself, to get that person to feel a certain way about you, it's not going to create what you want. It's not going to really get you what you want, because you're trying to force something. You're acting out of character and doing things irrationally. And that's ultimately going to create more of a repulsion. And you're going to become less and less attractive to that person. And then you're going to start devaluing, they're going to start devaluing you because of the energy that you're putting out. And what are they going to start doing? They're going to start treating you like shit, because now you're reaffirming why they broke up with you in the first place. Because it's clearly shown. They know what your intentions are. They know what you want. And because you're doing all of these emotional, irrational acts to get them, you know, they realize that they have all of the power. They can do whatever they want to do because they know that you're going to be there. And then people end up looking foolish, stalking them, going by their apartment, overlooking, overly looking at their social media, texting them and calling them all of the time. Like, I've done that. I've done it before when it comes to the social media texting and calling and things like that. And that was years ago. But I got to a point where I was like, that's not me. I stopped doing that shit. I sat down one night and came into awareness of shit, and I was like, damn, that's not me. And I beat myself up about that, because I knew it wasn't me. I held myself accountable. Like, who are you? The authentic self. If you could ever do this, where you get in a relationship, you always make that time for yourself. Always make that time to get back to yourself and do those things that regenerate your spirit and keep you aligned with yourself. Do things on your own. Spend time to yourself. Go to the gym. Go to the mall. Hang out with your friends. Get out in nature. Read. Study. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you need to always be up under that person. Because when we're younger, that's what we think. We don't have any type of understanding or awareness of that arena. And so the authentic self, when you're authentic, you know who you are. You understand your limitations. You know what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate. You speak when you need to speak. You act when you need to act. You trust yourself. You know when to be receptive, and you know when you need to be guarded. You know when to step forward, and you know when to step back. And that balance gets neglected and taken for granted when you get in a relationship. And so if you think about it, that's why a lot of divorces end up happening, because people start to change. As much as we're social creatures and we want to be connected with someone and connected with other people, we also have to have the time to ourselves to be in our own space and to be one with ourselves. I've seen so many relationships around me, and it's a lot of information to process. It's so much knowledge and wisdom. And see, the knowledge comes from your own wisdom, because you're able to process it and see it for yourself. And when you look at situations, you feel the energy and you go into your mind and you understand from within. You feel me? Not somebody forcing you or telling you what to see, but you actually see it for yourself. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to discuss, you know, the authentic self and relationships. But in the importance of understanding your authentic self is because this is who you need to be to have a successful life and to create the life that you desire. You have to know who you are and what you stand for. And as it relates to semen retention is to help you become aware of who you are as an individual and your own personal power, as it comes from you being aligned with your true self. And this is what I mean by recognizing the game. Love. Salud.